Welcome to my channel Bookish English. What if I told you the reason you're not speaking English fluently isn't because you're lazy or not smart, but because you're making silent mistakes you don't even know about? Stay with me. I'll show you how to fix every one of them. And before we start, tell me in the comments, what's the one English problem that annoys you the most? Let's talk about it. Chapter 1. You're still translating in your head. You wake up in the morning. You want to say, I want to eat breakfast, but your brain freezes. First, you think the sentence in your native language. Then you try to find the English words. Then you fix the grammar. By the time you finish, it's too late. The moment is gone. This happens every day. You know many words, but speaking still feels slow. You think, why is English so hard for me? But here's the truth. It's not the words. It's the translation. You are not speaking English. You are speaking your language, using English words. Many learners do this. Maybe you do it too. And it's not your fault. In school, you were trained to translate. Your teacher said a word in English and gave you the meaning in your language. You memorized it. Then you did this again and again. Now, years later, this habit is still in your mind, and it makes you slow. It makes you nervous. It makes you afraid to talk. You worry. Is this word right? Is this sentence correct? You stop before you start, and people think you don't know English, but you do. You just can't show it. Now imagine this. You're in a kitchen. You see a cup, a spoon, a plate. Instead of thinking, this is a spoon in your language, you simply look and say, spoon. That's it. No sentence, no translation, just the word. This is called the name what you see method. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's how children learn. You can do it too. You walk into a room and you say, door, chair table, light. Do it softly, do it silently, but do it in English. This daily trick rewires your brain. It teaches your mind to see the world in English. At first, it feels strange, but in 1 week, your brain starts changing. You don't stop to translate. You don't search for words. The words come to you because they are already there. You use them 20 times this week. Your mouth remembers. Your mind knows. That's how fluency begins. Not with big grammar books or hard vocabulary, but with simple words, spoken often. And there's another trick. When you're alone, talk to yourself. Yes, really. Don't wait for someone to practice with. Say what you're doing. Say it like this. I'm brushing my teeth. Now I'm washing my face. I open the window. I drink water. It sounds silly, but it's how you build real fluency. The more you say, the more you remember. The more you remember, the faster you speak. One of my students tried this. At first, she felt shy. She said, "This is weird." But I told her, try it for 7 days. That's all. On the first day, she spoke only 5 sentences. On the 3rd day, she spoke for 1 full minute. On the 7th day, she spoke without stopping for 5 minutes. She said, it felt natural, like I wasn't thinking, I was just speaking. This is the goal, not perfect grammar, not big words, just natural speech. Natural speech comes when you stop translating and start living in English. One thought, one word at a time. So today, don't try to make perfect sentences. Just name what you see, talk to yourself. Even if it's slow, do it. Even if it's short, say it. No one is watching. But your brain is, and your brain is learning. Because you're not just learning English, you're becoming someone who thinks in English. That's the first step. That's where fluency begins. Are you ready to stop translating? Good. Now let's move to Chapter 2 and discover the next mistake that's blocking your English. Chapter 2. You study grammar, but can't speak. He was the best in class. Always first in grammar tests. He knew all the tenses. Present perfect, no problem. Past continuous, easy. His notebook was full of rules, charts, and examples. His teacher often said, "Well done." But one day, something strange happened. The teacher asked him a simple question. "How was your day?" He froze. He didn't answer. He looked confused. He looked nervous. He opened his mouth and said nothing. This happens to many learners. Maybe it has happened to you. You study grammar every day. You know the rules. You do the exercises. You get the answers right. But when it's time to speak, your mind goes blank. Why? Because knowing grammar is not the same as using it. Grammar is like a map. Speaking is like driving. You can study the map all day, but if you never drive the car, you'll never reach your destination. Grammar gives you structure. It helps you understand, but it doesn't give you confidence. It doesn't give you fluency. Many fluent speakers don't know the names of tenses. They can't explain grammar rules, but they speak easily. How? Because they follow one simple rule: input before output. This means you must first hear and read English again and again before you try to speak or write. Think about how children learn. They don't start with grammar books. They listen for years. They hear words, phrases, and sentences. Slowly, their brain builds patterns. Then one day, they speak. Not because they studied grammar, but because they heard English hundreds of times. You can do this too. If you want to speak correctly, you must listen and read a lot. Not once, not twice, but every day. You don't need to understand every word. You need to feel the rhythm. You need to hear how sentences are made. This is real grammar. Natural grammar. Let me tell you about another student. Her name was Amina. She said, "I can't speak English. I make many mistakes, but I know all the grammar rules." I told her, "Stop studying grammar for 1 month. Instead, listen to English stories. Read simple books. Watch short videos. Just focus on input." She said, "Okay, I will try." After 1 month, she came back. Her English was different. Still not perfect, but better. More natural. She said, "Now when I speak, words come faster. I don't stop to think about grammar." This is the secret. Fluent speakers don't stop and think. They just speak. And you can too, if you fill your brain with real English. Grammar is still helpful. But use it as a mirror, not a map. After you listen, after you speak, use grammar to understand what you said, not to control what you say. So today, instead of doing 10 grammar exercises, do this. Listen to a short story, read the transcript, repeat one sentence aloud, shadow the speaker. Try to speak the sentence without looking. Do this every day. Don't worry about the rules. Worry about the rhythm. Grammar will follow. Your brain is smart. It will catch the patterns if you give it enough examples. So if you're still stuck, if you feel like grammar is your prison, break free. Close the rule book. Open your ears. Open your eyes. Let the language come in. Fluency starts with listening. Speaking comes next. Grammar is last. That's the path. That's the truth. And now that you know it, are you ready to learn the next mistake? It's a big one. And it's the reason you forget words even after writing them 10 times. Let's go to Chapter 3. Chapter 3. You try to learn too many words at once. He bought a new notebook. He was excited. He wanted to speak English fast, so he made a plan. He would learn 50 new English words every day. He opened the first page and started writing: admire, appear, believe, confuse, decide, explain. The list grew and grew. Day 1, 50 words. Day 2, 50 more. But on day 3, he looked back and forgot almost everything. This is a mistake many learners make. They try to learn too many words at the same time. They believe more is better. They think, if I learn 1,000 words this month, I will speak like a native. But it doesn't happen. They forget. They feel bad. They stop. And they blame themselves. But the problem is not you. The problem is the method. Your brain doesn't learn by looking once. It learns by seeing, hearing, and using the word again and again over time. Imagine this. You hear the word coffee every day. You see it in menus. You hear it in films. You say it when you order. Now you know it forever. But if you write a word like metaphor once in a notebook and never use it, your brain will delete it. The brain is smart. It keeps what you use. It forgets what you don't. That's why learning 50 new words every day doesn't work. It's too much, too fast, and too dry. The better way? Learn 10 words a day, but learn them deeply. How? Use the daily story method. Here's how it works. Choose 10 words. Now write one small story using all 10. Keep the story simple. Even 3 or 4 lines is fine. Then, read it aloud. Imagine it. Feel it. The more senses you use, the stronger the memory. Here's an example. You want to learn: smile, cold, door, happy, run, coffee, forget, shoes, wait, noise. So you write: I smile as I open the cold door. I see her waiting. She is happy. I run to her. I forgot my shoes. She laughs. We drink coffee. There's a noise outside, but we don't care. Now these words are not just in your notebook. They are part of a moment, a picture, a memory. You can feel the cold door. You can see the smile. This is how your brain remembers. And don't stop there. Say the story out loud. Record it. Listen to it tomorrow. Add a new sentence. Play with it. Turn it into a mini movie in your mind. You don't need 1,000 words to speak English. You need 500 words you know very well. Another trick? Recycle old words. Don't throw away yesterday's list. Use them again in today's story. Review old vocabulary like an old friend. Say, Hey, I remember you. Use it once more. That's how words move from short memory to forever memory. Let me tell you about Kareem. He said, I can't remember English words. I learn them, but they disappear. I asked him, how many words do you learn in a day? He said, maybe 30. I told him, from today, learn only 10, but use them. Write a small story. Speak it aloud. After 2 weeks, he smiled and said, now I remember my words. They are alive. So don't chase long lists. Don't race. Don't collect. Connect. Connect words to people, places, stories, sounds. When a word has a home in your heart, it won't leave. And now think about your vocabulary notebook. Is it full of words you don't use? Then it's time to clean it. Start fresh. One small story a day, one real connection. That's the way forward. Because English is not just about remembering, it's about living the words. And when you live them, they stay. Ready for Chapter 4? Let's talk about a mistake that hides behind silence, the fear of being wrong. It's time to break it. Chapter 4. You're afraid of making mistakes. She sat in class every day, quiet, careful. Her teacher asked, who wants to answer? She knew the answer, but she didn't raise her hand. She looked down. Her heart beat fast. She thought, what if I say it wrong? What if they laugh at me? So she stayed silent, and the teacher moved on. This is a silent mistake many English learners make. Not because they don't know the words, not because they are not smart, but because they are afraid of being wrong, afraid of judgment, afraid of looking foolish, so they wait, they stay quiet, and they lose the chance to practice. But here's something important. Every fluent speaker makes mistakes. Even native speakers, even teachers. Mistakes are not a problem. Mistakes are part of the process. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. Think about how babies learn to walk. They fall again and again. They don't cry and say, I'm not good at walking. I give up. Number. They fall, they stand, they try again, and soon they walk. It's the same with speaking English. Mistakes are like steps. Each one brings you closer to fluency. Let me tell you about Ahmed. He was afraid to speak English in front of others. He thought people would laugh. I told him, speak 5 minutes every day. Alone. Make 20 mistakes. No problem. At first, he felt strange. Then he laughed. Then he enjoyed it. Soon he spoke to his classmates. Then to a tourist. Then in a job interview. He said, I stopped trying to be perfect, and I started speaking. That is the shift. Don't chase perfection. Chase progress. Every time you say something wrong, you learn something right. You grow. You move forward. But if you stay silent, nothing happens. Sometimes the fear comes from school. Maybe someone laughed at your English. Maybe a teacher corrected you in a bad way. I understand. That hurts. But don't let that old voice control your future. Today, you speak for yourself. You learn for yourself. No one is judging you here. Here's a trick. When you make a mistake, say this out loud. Great. I learned something new. Smile. Laugh at it. Make it your friend. Turn fear into freedom. You can also try mistake practice. Every day, speak for 2 minutes. Say anything. Don't stop to correct. Don't stop to think. Just speak. Later, listen to it. Find one mistake, only one. Learn from it. Do it again tomorrow. Make mistakes your lesson, not your enemy. Another method is the mistake jar. Every time you make a mistake, put a coin or paper in a jar, not as a punishment, as a celebration. When the jar is full, buy yourself a gift. Why? Because it means you practiced. You tried. You didn't hide. Fluent speakers are not mistake-free. They are fearless. They know mistakes are signs of learning, and you can be the same. The world doesn't need your perfect English. It needs your real voice. So today, speak. Even if your grammar is wrong, even if your pronunciation is strange, speak. Because every word you say is one step closer to fluency. And silence takes you nowhere. Now ask yourself, what's one English sentence you are afraid to say? Write it down. Say it now. Whisper it. Say it again. And get ready. Because in Chapter 5, we'll talk about something that looks like learning, but actually slows your speaking. It's a habit most learners don't notice. But once you do, your speaking will grow faster than ever. Let's go. Chapter 5. You only listen without repeating. He watched English videos every day. He listened to podcasts. He watched movies. He thought, this will help me speak better. But months passed, and nothing changed. He could understand more. But when he tried to speak, he still froze. He said, "Why is this so hard? I listen to English for hours." And the answer is simple, because listening alone is not enough. This is a mistake many learners make. They think passive listening, just watching or hearing English, will automatically make them fluent. But passive listening is like watching someone lift weights and thinking your muscles will grow. It doesn't work that way. You must use your voice. You must move your mouth. You must train your speaking muscle again and again. Think about it. You listen, and your ears understand. That's one part. But fluency happens when your mouth and your brain work together. You must speak the sounds. You must feel them. You must train your lips, your tongue, your breath. That's how words come naturally. Let me tell you about the shadowing method. It's simple and powerful. You listen to a sentence in English from a video, a podcast, or a story, and you repeat it immediately. You don't wait. You speak with the speaker. You copy the voice, the tone, the rhythm, like a shadow. At first, it feels fast. It feels messy. You miss words, but that's okay. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to move your mouth with English. That's how fluency begins. You can shadow with subtitles. You can shadow one sentence 10 times. You can shadow just one paragraph a day. But the key is, don't stay silent. Speak with the video. Be its echo. One of my students, Maria, was very shy. She said, "I don't like my voice. I feel stupid when I speak alone." I told her, shadow in a whisper, or speak in your head, but move your mouth, feel the shape of English. She tried it for a week. Every day, 5 minutes. just one video. She whispered the lines. By day 7, she said, "Now I can say the sentences easily, even out loud." This is the spike moment. When you stop being afraid of your voice, when you start using it, that's when fluency grows. You can start with your favorite video. Choose one with a clear speaker. One sentence at a time. Listen. Pause. Repeat. Again and again. Then try it without pausing. Speak with the speaker. Let your voice blend with theirs. Let your brain and mouth work as one. Another trick? Record yourself. Shadow one sentence. Then play it. Then speak again. Compare. You will hear your mistakes, but you will also hear your progress. Day by day, your voice becomes stronger, your rhythm becomes smoother, you become more confident. Fluency is not just about listening, it's about saying what you hear, feeling the sounds, owning the language. And here's a secret. You don't need a partner to speak English. You are your own best partner. Your phone can be your practice tool. Your videos can be your teacher. And your voice is your power. So today, when you listen, don't stay silent. Don't be a watcher. Be a speaker. Be a shadow. Because when you repeat what you hear, you don't just understand English. You start to speak it. And once you speak, the world opens. Now let's go to Chapter 6. You'll learn why many learners feel afraid when they meet native speakers, and how to face that fear with one simple trick. Let's go. Chapter 6. You avoid native speakers. He was walking through the market when he heard someone speak English. A tourist, a native speaker. His heart jumped. His hands felt cold. He quickly turned around and walked away. Not because he didn't know English, but because he was scared. Scared he wouldn't understand. Scared he would make a mistake. Scared he would freeze. So, he avoided the chance. Again. This is more common than you think. Many English learners are afraid of real conversations with native speakers, not because they don't want to talk, but because their mind says, "You're not ready." Their heart says, "What if you don't understand?" And their confidence disappears. They smile, they nod, but they don't speak. Let me tell you something important. Native speakers don't expect perfect English. They don't care if your grammar is wrong. They don't care if you pause or search for a word. Most of them admire you for trying, because they know English is not easy. But I understand your fear. I've seen it many times. The fear of not understanding fast English. The fear of not finding the right word. The fear of silence. It feels big. It feels real. But you can beat it, not by avoiding it, but by starting small. Don't think of conversations as big, long talks. Start with one line. That's the one-line challenge. You don't need to have a full conversation. Just say one sentence, one question, one answer. It can be as simple as, "Hello, how are you? Where are you from? I like your shoes. Have a nice day." Say it and walk away. That's it. No pressure, no follow-up, just one line, every day, to one person, a shopkeeper, a tourist, a classmate, a stranger online. The first time feels hard, but the second time feels better. By day 10, your brain says, "This is okay," and your heart believes it. Another trick is the 3-second eye contact method. When you see someone who speaks English, look at them for 3 seconds, smile, then look away. Do it again the next day. Why? Because confidence grows step by step. First eye contact, then a smile, then a word, then a sentence. That's how you build comfort. You can also practice with AI or language exchange apps. Talk to someone online. Use text if voice feels scary. Then slowly use voice. Then video. It's like climbing a ladder. One step at a time, and every step is progress. Let me tell you about Lila. She never spoke to native speakers. She said, "I feel small around them." I gave her the one-line challenge. The first week she only smiled and said hi. The second week she added, "How are you?" The third week she had a full 2-minute talk with a tourist at a museum. She said, "I was still nervous, but I did it." That is success, not perfection, courage, not fast answers, simple effort. When you stop running away from native speakers, you stop running away from fluency. Here's something to remember. Fluent English is not just about knowing the language. It's about using it in real time, with real people. That's where the magic happens. So today, if you see someone speaking English, don't hide. Don't run. Smile. Say one thing, just one. You don't need to be ready. You just need to begin. Because every time you speak, even one word, you get stronger, and your fear gets smaller. Now, in Chapter 7, we'll talk about a mistake that sounds small, but can stop your growth completely. It's about time. How often do you practice English? Once a week? Twice? What if I told you that's not enough, even if it feels like a lot? Let's talk about the power of small daily practice. Let's go. Chapter 7. You don't practice daily. He opened his book on Sunday. He studied for 2 hours. He felt proud. He said, "I'm working hard." Then the week passed. He was busy. He had work, family, life. Next Sunday, he studied again. Another 2 hours. But something felt wrong. He still couldn't speak easily. He still forgot words. He still didn't feel fluent. He said, "Why? I'm studying. I'm serious. So why am I not improving?" This is a silent mistake many learners make. They think studying once or twice a week is enough. They think one long session is better than many small ones. But it's not. Your brain learns like a plant. It grows a little bit every day. If you water a plant once a week for 2 hours, it will die. But if you water it 10 minutes a day, it grows strong. Language learning is the same. 10 minutes a day beats 2 hours on Sunday. Every time. Why? Because your brain needs repetition. Your memory needs review. Your mouth needs movement. And your confidence needs daily care. When you practice every day, even for a short time, your English becomes part of your life. Not a chore, not homework, just something you do. Let me tell you about the 10-minute fluency routine. It's simple, it's powerful, and it works. 2 minutes, listen to one short story or dialogue. 2 minutes, read the same story aloud. 2 minutes. Shadow the speaker. Repeat after them. 2 minutes. Speak freely about your day. Talk to yourself. 2 minutes. Write 5 new words. Make 1 sentence with each. That's it. 10 minutes. No stress, no grammar books, just action. Real English, real practice. And if you do this every day, yes, every day, your English will change. One of my students, Raphael, said, "I don't have time. I work 10 hours a day." I told him, "Just 10 minutes, no excuses." He did it for 30 days. After 1 month, he said, "I'm speaking faster. I remember more. I feel better." That's the power of daily practice. And here's the truth. It's not about time. It's about consistency. Some people say, "I'll start when I'm free." But free time never comes. Life keeps going. You must start now, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just 1 exercise. Start and keep going. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. You don't need to learn everything today. You just need to show up every day. And here's a bonus tip. Link English to your habits. Listen to English while brushing your teeth. Shadow a line while walking. Say 10 words before sleeping. Make English part of your life, not just your study plan. Because language is not something you learn and forget. It's something you grow, like a garden. Slowly, daily, beautifully. So today, don't wait for the weekend. Don't wait for the perfect time. Open your mouth. Listen. Read. Speak. Write. Even for 10 minutes. Especially for 10 minutes. Because small steps every day take you farther than big steps once a week. Now, in Chapter 8, we go deeper. We'll talk about a mistake that hides inside your books. Yes, books, because many learners think reading grammar books will make them fluent, but they forget about real English, the kind we actually use in life. Ready for that shift? Let's go. Chapter 8. You only read textbooks, not real English. She opened her grammar book again. Page 45. Reported speech. Indirect questions. She read the rules. She read the examples. She understood the explanation. But later that night she watched a movie. The people were talking fast. They used contractions. They used jokes. They used feelings. She didn't understand. She said, "Why can't I follow this? I know the rules." She turned off the video and felt lost. This happens to many learners. Maybe to you. You read the books. You study the rules. You finish the exercises. But when you hear real English, in movies, in songs, in real life, you feel like it's a different language. Because textbook English is not real English. It's clean. It's quiet. It's perfect. But real English is alive. It moves fast. It uses phrases. It uses chunks. It uses emotion. Real people don't say, "I do not know." They say, "I don't know." They don't say, "I am going to visit my grandmother." They say, "I'm going to see my grandma." Real English is full of feeling, sound, rhythm, and shortcuts. If you only read textbooks, you miss all of that. Let me tell you what changed one student's English forever. His name was Bilal. He said, "I read my English grammar book every day, but I still can't understand native speakers. I gave him a simple story, a fairy tale. It was called The Girl with the Rose Heart. The language was simple, the sentences were short, but the story had feelings, love, mystery, sadness. He read it slowly. He imagined the scenes. He read it aloud. And something strange happened. The next time he watched an English video, he understood more. He said, "I don't know how, but I feel like I know what they're saying now." That's the power of real English. Stories give you more than vocabulary. They give you the way real people speak. They teach you how words live together, not alone. In grammar books, you learn one word at a time. In real English, you learn in phrases. Take your time. Let me know. What's up? You made my day. These are chunks. Your brain loves chunks. It remembers them better. It uses them faster. Because this is how we speak in real life, in small pieces, not long rules. Another truth, when you read a real story, you also feel something. And when you feel something, you remember it. That's how your brain works. It doesn't remember rules. It remembers emotion. It remembers love, surprise, fear, laughter. That's why reading a simple fairy tale can give you more English than reading 10 pages of grammar. So today, ask yourself, what kind of English are you reading? Are you only reading examples in a book? Or are you reading the kind of English people actually use? You don't need to stop grammar completely, but don't make it your only food. Mix it. Add stories. Add dialogues. Add comics. Add songs. Add subtitles. Make your English diet full of flavor. Because English is not just about accuracy. It's about connection. It's about understanding people, their thoughts, their feelings, their voice. So tonight, pick a short story. Read it for fun. Read it out loud. Read it with your heart. Don't stop for every word. Don't use a dictionary. Just follow the story. Feel it. Live it. Because the more real English you feel, the more fluent you become. Now, in Chapter 9, we'll talk about something that happens to every learner: forgetting. You learn new words, then forget them next week. Why? And how do we stop that? The next chapter gives you the answer. Let's go. Chapter 9. You don't repeat what you've learned. He learned 10 new words yesterday. He felt proud. He even used some in sentences. But today, when he opened his notebook, he remembered only 2. He scratched his head and said, "I knew this. Why is it gone?" He felt frustrated, tired. He closed the book and said, "Maybe I'm not good at remembering." But the problem wasn't him. The problem was the missing piece: repetition. Your brain is not a machine. It doesn't remember everything just because you saw it once. Your brain learns by seeing, hearing, and using things again and again, but with time in between. If you don't repeat what you've learned, it disappears. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain is smart. It clears space for what seems important. If a word is used once and never again, your brain lets it go. So how do we keep words alive? Not with boring revision, not with memorizing lists, but with something simple. I call it the 24/7/30 rule. It's not a grammar rule, it's a memory rule, and it works. Here's how it goes. 24. Review the word within 24 hours of first learning it. 7. Use the word again within 7 days. 30. Review or speak the word again after 30 days. That's it. When you meet a new word, don't just write it. Create a story. Use it in a sentence. Then the next day, use it again in a different sentence. After a week, include it in your speaking. After a month, look at it again. If you follow this pattern, the word becomes part of your real English. Let's try it. You learn the word confused. Day 1. I'm confused by this grammar rule. Day 2. My friend was confused about the time. Day 7. I felt confused when I got lost in the city. Day 30. Confused becomes a word you use without thinking. This is not just theory. This is brain science. Your brain stores long-term memories by repeated, spaced contact. That's why flashcards work better over time, not all at once. That's why stories stay longer than vocabulary lists. They have meaning. They come back again and again. One of my learners, Nico, said, I learn so many words, but I always forget them. I told him, stop collecting. Start revisiting. I showed him the 24/7/30 plan. After 1 month, he said, now the words stick. I don't just write them. I know them. You don't need a perfect system. You don't need 100 words a week. You need 5 words you use. You need stories, sentences, questions. Use the word in your day. Text it to a friend. Say it out loud when you're walking. Make it part of your English life. Here's another tip. Write your words on sticky notes. Put them on your mirror, on your fridge, on your phone. Look at them. Read them. Say them. Make them part of your world. Because language is not about memory. It's about use. If you use it, you keep it. If you forget it, you haven't used it enough yet. So today, go back to yesterday's words. Say them. Use them. Love them. Your brain will thank you tomorrow. Now, in Chapter 10, we'll talk about the biggest mistake of all, the one that hides behind frustration. It's the belief that fluency should come fast. But what if slow progress is the best kind of progress? Let's end with the truth that keeps you going even when it feels hard. Let's go. Chapter 10. You expect fluency fast, but that's not how it works. He was tired. 3 months had passed. He watched English videos. He studied grammar. He listened to podcasts. He even tried speaking alone. But still, when he tried to talk to someone, the words didn't come. He felt stuck. He thought, maybe English is not for me. Maybe I'll never be fluent. He looked in the mirror and whispered, I give up. If you've ever felt like this, you're not alone. Many learners feel the same. They try for weeks. They don't see big change. They feel slow, behind, frustrated, and they think the problem is them. But the problem is not you. The problem is expectation. You expect fluency to come fast. You expect to speak well after 1 course. You expect to watch Netflix without subtitles in 3 months. But fluency doesn't work that way. Because fluency is not fast. Fluency is a garden. You plant seeds every day. You don't see growth tomorrow. You don't see fruit in a week. But if you keep watering, one day the flowers bloom, and everyone is surprised, even you. Let me tell you about Anna. She was a quiet learner. She didn't speak much, but every day she listened to one short story. Every day she read it aloud. Every day she wrote 5 new words. No rush, no pressure, just 10 minutes, then 15, then 20. After 1 year, she went to London. She ordered food. She asked for directions. She made a friend. And when she came back, she cried. She said, "I didn't know I could speak like that. I didn't know I was fluent." Because fluency doesn't shout. It grows in silence. It grows in the little moments. When you listen for 5 minutes, when you speak to yourself, when you read before sleeping. These moments feel small, but together they make something big. And here's the truth. Slow is not weak. Slow is strong. Slow is real. Slow is honest. Fast language learning is a lie that hurts your heart. It makes you feel like you're failing when you're actually growing. So don't ask, "Why am I not fluent yet?" Ask, "What did I do today?" Did you read? Good. Did you listen? Great. Did you try to speak? Wonderful. That's progress. That's winning. Remember, no one becomes fluent overnight, not even native speakers. They learn for years. They make mistakes. They forget words. You are not late. You are learning, and that's enough. Today, look back. Remember your first English word, your first sentence. Look how far you've come. That's your proof. That's your power. And tomorrow, you'll go even farther. So keep going, even when it's slow, even when it's hard, because small steps every day build the road to fluency. And if you ever feel like giving up, remember Anna. Remember the garden. Remember that the real magic happens when no one is watching, not even you. Because one day, you'll speak, and you'll surprise yourself, and you'll smile, and you'll say, "I did it." If you're still watching this, it means you care, you're serious, and you're ready. Now you know the 10 biggest mistakes English learners make, and more importantly, you know how to fix them. So tell me in the comments, which mistake was yours? Which one opened your eyes? Like this video if it helped you. And subscribe, because here, we don't chase perfect English. We build real fluency, word by word, day by day. Together, let's keep going.